Hi, hello and welcome to another episode of course,
China.
My name is Fernando and
Ziv.
And today we are at a candy factory with
Karl Long. We're here with Karl at the Zed Candy Factory in Zhangmutou, Dongguan. And Karl Long is from Ireland. He's been in China for 18 years, all the way from different stations from Harbin to down here in South China where we are now. And if you can see everything behind us, we are very excited to take some samples home. Thanks, Karl, for having us.
I see you brought your special trousers today.
Yes,
the cargo pants.
Pockets. Yeah.
GI Ziv.
Yeah.
Mine is stretchy.
Yeah, no problem. We'll search you on the way out.
Right, Karl. Maybe you tell us, just give us a bit of introduction about this factory.
Yeah. Okay. Like you said, Zed Candy. We're based here in China, but prior to relocating to China, the factory was in Ireland, where I'm from. So it's set up in 1998 as Zed Candy. They bought a factory that was originally set up by an American gumball manufacturer called Leaf. So they had presence in Ireland since the 60s or 70s. And then in 1998, the guy who founded Zed bought their factory and started his own business, having originally worked for the Leaf business. So he set up his own brand and produced in Ireland for 10 years up until about 2007 when he decided to cash in on the property the factory was built on and move his operation to Dongguan in China. So it's set up here in 2008.
So it's already 12 years in here, in this
celebrating
factory.
12 years, yeah.
And are there many candy factories in the area or no?
Candy making what we're making, we predominantly in the past make gumballs.
Right,
and now we're venturing into hard candy and chews in the last few years. But making a similar product, no, not in Dongguan. There are other confectionery products looking at biscuits and chocolates in the area. But if you want to find gumballs, you need to travel to Shantou,
okay.
which you can find everything.
The history of candy in China, how long is it? Do you know any? I mean...
well, if you've ever gone to a Chinese person's home during Chinese New Year, right?
They always have the white rabbit.
The white rabbit chews are kind of the milk-flavored chews, and you have like hawthorn strips and things like this. But candy, it's always I've been here 18 years. There's always been a certain degree of candy, be it like, I don't know, prawn-flavored chocolate or something that's not necessarily to our liking, but again,
we were just talking about it on the way, right? So like I guess they always had candy, but I think that they didn't have the variety, I guess, that we had in the West 20, 30, 40 years ago already. They must have had candy, but
yeah, there's candy, of course. But even if you look at their preferences when it comes to something sweet, you look at their flavors that come out of McDonald's ice cream. You get green tea ice cream.
Right.
You're like,
yeah, like the other day we were going to go to McDonald's to have ice cream. I forgot what the flavor was. We're like, no,
taro or something.
Yeah, taro. Yeah.
Do you have a taro or green tea gumball?
That's in the special room. I have to show you.
green tea ice cream.
We probably should. Ziv. We probably should.
Do you like your candy? Do you actually consume candy yourself?
Look at me, yeah.
Or you
no, well,
you taste?
Again, using the McDonald's reference, I don't think people who work at McDonald's have Big Macs for lunch.
Right.
But no, I do. I do a lot of tasting involved in the research and development, and I like it.
Do you have a taster, like
a professional taster?
Huh?
No,
yeah.
it comes from the research and development. We know what we wanted to start. We have
because I'm available.
You are, okay. Yeah, no, we'd probably somebody with less pockets.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we do it ourselves. We know what we want. We benchmark the flavor before we get into it, and then we have a marketing team that will work some surveys on our focus markets. And
what goes into making candy? Yeah. I mean,
sugar,
acids, color.
Sugar, acids, glucose, colors. Obviously, in our candy, gum base as well. So predominantly sugar and different variations of starch and the nitty-gritty things that come out with the...
When Ziv introduced me to this factory and this interview, I told him I'm very, very interested to come here because my father used to run a candy factory in Colombia, and you know that company, Colombina in Colombia.
Yeah, great company.
And
they say candy,
the moment we parked outside, I was like, that smell.
Yeah.
So we could smell it here.
Yeah,
and Karl said...
I don't smell it anymore. Well, it really depends what we're producing on the day. If you're making any given flavor that might be stronger, you'll notice it. But generally, the generic smell, no.
Being a candy factory, you're known in the area. Like the factory is known, everybody knows there is a candy factory here.
It's something because when the factory was founded in Ireland, I met a guy who at an exhibition. I said I work for Zed, and he goes, "If I ever got kidnapped in Ireland, I would know if I passed your factory because the smell. If I was in the trunk of the boot, if I was in the trunk of the car, I know."
So it's like that coffee
I'm 20 miles from Zed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
in Nanchang, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Come get me. What is Zed, by the way? So
Zed is it's the name we have when the company started. Along with the company, we invented a character, and we gave the character a name called Zed, and from that we had Zed Candy.
Okay.
So on some of our branding, I can show you some pictures of the Zed character. He's got a little bit more hair than me, which is not hard.
Okay.
I see a lot of English. So your market is mostly export, or
from China? Yeah, we export to about 50 countries from here. This is one of the reasons why we relocated the factory from Ireland to here. Obviously, you have labour, cost of labour, and then we have international sugar prices. But another one is access to the world markets. So yeah, 95% of our business is export. We want to increase our domestic sales, but for now, the biggest export markets would be predominantly the UK, Germany, France. We do a lot, and we see growth markets as the Middle East, especially Saudi, where 30% of people have diabetes. So we'll hone in on them. And we see Russia is growing quite big in the last couple of years, and Latin America as well.
Are there localizations that you need to do? Are there like specific
well, in
packaging?
We have language groups and flavors, everything, their requirements for the imports on nutritional information that needs to be in certain languages. And,
but the candy itself is just the same.
Candy, other than flavors. We do have colors. Certain European countries will not allow colors that American will allow. So E133, E171.
Okay.
So these colors that are titanium, that are, we'll say, they may be derived from insects or derived from, they might be carcinogenic, considered carcinogenic. Or they'll, you have kids, you'll know they increase their activity. So kids with ADHD.
I see. So some countries have rules like America.
No, America don't.
America don't? Okay, so America.
So for example, France.
Okay, France have more Europe.
Exactly. But I can see other European countries catching on. And
you think any country in particular consume more candy than other countries, or like we spoke a little bit about it before, right? Like candy it sells itself, and so you say it's
recession resistant.
Resistant, yeah.
Right, recession resistant, right? Because it's sugar.
Well, different countries are at different stages of like becoming more healthy, right?
Right.
So we see the trend dropping in predominantly where candy was number one in North America, in the UK, and in Europe. But now they're becoming more health conscious. So now we're looking at vegan options, vegetarian options, where we don't use gelatin, we don't use artificial colors, artificial flavors, and that. So we're moving towards that trend. But again, there are countries where we can still sell.
Can you make a no carb gumball?
Carbs, it's
no sugar gumball.
Yeah, there's sugar free gum, there's sugar free, but it's gonna.
Is that a gimmick? Sorry.
It's like it's.
It's like let's say you have diabetes, and you still want to chew gum, and
you mean is it a gimmick in how true?
You replace sugar by something else that's
you
equally.
Replace sugar by fake sugar. It's the same as drinking Diet Coke and thinking you're going to lose weight. Yeah. You're not. Like, somebody goes in, can I have a Big Mac meal, chicken nuggets, and a Diet Coke?
There might be other problems. There might be other problems with it. Right.
Yeah, but again, it's going to cost you more as the end user. If we're using, if it's sugar free, it's going to cost you more because sugar is going to be the cheaper option.
Right.
But you were talking about how sugar is out there with the level of addiction of sugar is quite high. Is that something that becomes a challenge when you enter in a new market, or is that a challenge nowadays?
No, I think people are consuming sugar in their everyday diet. It's very hard to meet somebody who's not. So the inclination to consume sugar is always there, but it depends on how they intake it. So our product is mainly children's confectionery, so a lot of it will be parental purchases. So we need to look at our age group of target market should be really kids with their own pocket money, so between the ages of 7 to 15 years old, because if you look at snot shots, right, if you're a parent, this is snot shots. So this is something that sells really well in the UK and Russia.
What is this?
It's a gunpowder. So it's a nice product. We break it down, we grind the gumball and we coat it and we add acid. Yeah, it's just a gimmick. But it's not something that you're going to buy your kids. So, but it's something that will sell really well in convenience stores in the traditional trade.
So older kids?
Between 7 and 15. People who have their own money, right?
Right.
Not people, kids who get pocket money.
Yeah. Wow.
So
When people were thinking about making McDonald's responsible for the obesity problem in the United States, there were some legal targets there. Do you see any of that attention going towards the candy industry?
yeah, the sugar taxes.
Sugar taxes.
There's,
How does that work?
It depends on the country. They'll impose imported sugar taxes, so they'll increase your import duties on if I want to export to certain countries. So, for example, Brazil, they've got massive import sugar duties because, for one, they want to protect their own sugar and their own domestic production, and then anything that's imported, they'll 100%.
The battle, and I think the lobbying and the money really is not with the candy factories, right? It's more with the sugar companies.
Well,
I guess it's more in that level.
Yeah, well, I think it's however it ends up on your table, however it ends up in your kids' hands, right? So if you look at Chile, for example, they will not allow any advertisement directed towards kids. So if we wanted to have like this would not be allowed because its character is seen as attractive to children. So they use color coding, and that's really hurting our business in Chile because our graphic design is kind of one of our key USPs. Right. So it's something that they're putting a hold on just to
like
avoid...
what they did with cigarettes, they were attacking Camel Cigarettes with the camel character. And
no more logos in some countries.
And if you go to Thailand, you see all the people with blood disease. And
you think in the future there will be picture of very big people on you can be like this.
Yeah, if you want to be like me.
But I mean, this is not like the worst. Obviously, it's far from being like those candies that gumball after all, right?
Yeah.
It's like.
Mm.
Are there any China-specific challenges to making candy?
China-specific are flavors, really. Their flavors are really specific and very influenced by KOLs. So if we wanted to get our products popular in China, there's so many. If you go to any of the stores now, there's so many variety. So we really need to be endorsed by. We need to get a lucky break. So that's why you can see a lot of the candy in China is licensed. So it'll attract the attention of kids. So we do a lot of OEMs here in China,
like
for
the Peppa Pig,
My Little Pony, anything new that is that's coming out. So that really draws the attraction.
So you haven't tried yet. You're doing license.
We do license,
OEM, right?
We don't have our own Zed brand in China. We tried a few years ago in the CVS, like the 7-Elevens and the Meijia, which is kind of an expensive channel to get into, and you really have to put a lot of advertising and promotion into a big budget, because if you don't, if you're not successful, you get delisted.
You're gonna make the character Zed the KOL or something,
exactly,
right?
Yeah,
and that's millions and millions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, right. But it's something that you tried. Are you going to try again, you think?
Yeah, sure.
Market is too much.
I was in Shanghai last week, and I had a few distribution meetings. So it's really about getting the product mix right, the flavors and the packaging model. It's all about what the product looks like on the shelves, right? It needs to jump off and sell itself. So
and is there a difference in making like a candy factory in here and a candy factory in Ireland? Is essentially the same thing inside?
The processes are the same.
Okay.
The difficulties, the challenges we have compared with Ireland and China, especially Dongguan, is temperature and humidity control. Because ideally inside the factory you have certain strict humidity and temperature requirements that are a lot lower than the temperature and humidity that are outside. So for example, today's 30 plus. A lot of our rooms and storage areas need to be below 20. So it's
all times.
All times, 24 hours. You can't. Considering the finishing we have on our product, we have acid finishes. We have a lot of sour in there, so they're very sensitive to humidity.
Right.
So
also the color coating and everything starts.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, when anything mixed on some of our gumball or jawbreakers, we'd have 20 different colors inside.
So it's just use of air conditioning. I mean, it doesn't mean that like hot countries don't really produce candy or less.
Yeah. Well, it's a commitment. Like if you go to a factory making gumballs in Africa, you'll see they use fans. So there
is some quality issues.
Yeah, it all affects the quality. So If I go to Canton Fair, and I can see competing gumball factories, and you pick up their gumball and the shell falls off, the color is running, there's spots, you can tell that it's not the required conditions that it's being produced in.
How about the cost of making gumballs or candy? I mean, also difference, I guess. I mean, labor is one thing, of course.
Labor is one thing
China,
that's growing. Yeah.
Material, the raw materials.
Raw materials is the sugar, right? Is something that's the most expensive part, and then you have the other mixes, and then you have the finish, the colors, depending on. There's multiple flavor providers, suppliers. There's multiple color suppliers. It just depends on the quality you want to offer your final end user. So
how about the know-how, like
that's
the quality
essential.
of people?
Yeah, the quality of people is essential. It's essentially a science. It's food science. It's
Right.
Our R&D team, I'm very proud of. They do a great job. We also use consultants from abroad. We use technology that the factory has used for many years. So it's something we like to keep private and
Right.
To
Is
really.
there confidentiality in that industry?
Yeah.
Of
this
course.
industry?
There's
Like,
our industry
of course.
secrets.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Like when I was telling you that my father designed or came up with some of the formulation for the gum with the lollipop with gum. Basically, that choice of particular flavor or whatever made the company billions. But I'm talking billions.
Is there like what is it? Trademark, copyrights? I mean, how do they? Is there like the jawbreaker, right? You say jawbreaker is yours.
In Europe, we have the trademark for jawbreaker.
But that's just for the name.
Yeah, the
But
jawbreaker.
someone else can produce the same thing.
You can produce.
Just not call it like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, you could. Some people call it gobstoppers
All right.
or different hard candy, hard gum.
I mean, that's what I mean. It's not hard to reverse engineer this kind of candy, right? I mean, with the right scientists.
That's why that's why you have R&D departments, right? Because it's finding the right balance, the right mixture, the right amount of this, the right amount of that, the right amount of the right temperature, the right time.
Yeah. You need someone that knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
of course.
exactly.
Correcto mundo.
And then you need to protect it once it's done. That's one of the issues in China. We have an idea, we launch a product, and then you'll see it at Canton Fair, and that's not
Right. So you've seen that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Chinese are good in copying
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
right? And the products are.
Yeah, they're out there for the market to see. So once you develop a product and launch it, then the quality may not be the same, but the concept is similar.
Right.
I wanted to talk a little bit about sugar. During preparation, you were talking about there's different kinds of sugar that you can source. Where do you source your sugar from, and what are the differences? And
Yeah, there's obviously confectionery sugar that needs to be refined and grinded. So we, for like I mentioned earlier, international sugar prices. There's many countries in the area that provide imported sugar into China because to achieve the prices you need to compete in the market, we import the sugar and then we have to export it. So there's many countries who provide. There's Thai sugar, there's Korean sugar, and there's also from Oceanic.
So you cannot export your candy that's made with
Chinese sugar. No.
And the opposite as well. You cannot sell here.
You cannot
candy.
import sugar and then sell the candy here.
And is it similar in other countries? These kind of rules, you think?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah,
Yeah.
generally to
Like
achieve
protect their own.
International sugar prices. Yeah,
Right,
so sugar is basically a commodity that you probably know. But obviously in Colombia, you probably have your own sugar right on your doorstep.
yes, basically where I'm from, it's the area where sugar is grown, sugarcane. Yeah,
But, as I know, Colombia, their sugar confectionery consumption is very high, and
It's
especially
extreme,
with a tendency to like sour.
yeah.
So we talked to our distributor in Colombia, and they're all about the sour. They can't get enough.
How do you make the sour?
Acid?
Acid,
So you add to
acids. Yeah.
Yeah.
sugar.
Yeah, it's basically candy is packaging. It's a huge part of candy. Yeah, you might have the same candy, but it's
Right.
how attractive it is. And the right balance of candy sour.
So
How much sugar you think you use here in the factory in a year or in a month or whatever? Like it's a big
How much
number,
you purchase?
yeah, it's a few thousand
Tons.
tons, a few thousand tons. Like we'll go
Do you
through.
have trucks keep coming in with sugar?
Yeah, we the guys when they see the sugar arriving in 1 ton bags or 25 kilo bags, they're going, oh no, because it's a lot of manual labor. But obviously the distributor will help us unload. But yeah, we go over to a few thousand tons
A
year.
year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is the output of your factory here?
Output if we get close to, we're looking at building on it, but generally about 6,000 ton a year of candy. And if you break that down, roughly about 20 ton a day. And then that equivalent, that's about 4 million piece gumballs a day. We can do
4 million gumballs a day. Make. Wow.
So yeah, that's how big are your pockets, Dave?
Not big
You're
enough.
not gonna make a dent.
Big
You're
enough.
not gonna make a dent on their production.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Sure.
What is the what other kind of challenges you may have here? You know, doing this in China, right? A candy factory in China, or probably some of the challenges are similar to other factories that.
Yeah.
Other products, I guess. But
I think it's just this industry is all about innovation, staying ahead of the game, right? Because the kids, you know, their attention spans, they're looking at 5 screens at one time. So they need something new. They need something to attract their attention. So innovation is a challenge. But
where's the R&D, by the way, for that kind of thing?
We have
the
setup of Zed Candy is, like I mentioned earlier, we're originally an Irish company that moved here. But in 2017, we got the involvement of an equity investment company from Holland. So now our HQ is actually in the Netherlands.
Okay.
So we have our CEO based there, our marketing manager based there, and we have a sales guy in Sao Paulo in Brazil. We have one in Dubai, and we have one in Singapore, and also obviously in Holland.
So where do they come up with that, like the name, and then make this? Who tells you to make?
Yeah, it's all marketing, right?
So it's there.
It's a combination of marketing and no, it could be anyone. It could be anyone can give the initiative. So if I have an idea, you run it through a system, and then you do feasibility checks, you do flavor checks, and then if it passes, it passes. And then you have to put it in front of customers to gauge their reaction, do your research and focus groups. It's not something you just boom.
Right. It takes a while.
Step-by-step
focus groups where back there.
Wherever you think the potential. If it's a worldwide product, then you do various, and then you look at your target audience and you put it in front of them. And really, the packaging design is key.
So there is a lot of money that goes into R&D.
Obviously, the actual candy. The trials are done here, obviously, and then the behind the scenes, what we need is done within marketing.
Wow.
And in terms of competitors, I mean, large international competitors, are there other factories, other candy companies making candy in China?
There are competing directly with us. Shantou, you can see more and more pop up. If you go again to the Canton Fair, you'll see Shantou, Chaozhou, some in Liaoyang in the north. And then more and more in Xiamen as well on the coast. So
why there? Why Shantou?
Shantou, I think it's just a hub of everything. I think they like to be close to where other people are doing the same thing, so they can.
As the Chinese thing when they kind of like cluster things.
Yeah, you know, if you go to a Chinese city, that's sports clothes shop street.
Yeah,
there's where you buy
market for everything.
Yeah, there's where you buy your pipes
and the sunglasses, though.
Yeah, they'll all be beside each other.
Yeah.
So
there is even one for people, the job market, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How is it for you working with Chinese staff? I mean, you've been here for 12 years, but have there been
18?
18, sorry, yes. Have there been any challenges? Is it getting easier with time, or?
No, I think the reason for international management is really to bring an international way of operations to places like Dongguan, where in the past we're an international company, so we want to introduce international standards, which is great for the staff. I think they learn and they feel like they're part of a bigger organization than rather just a Chinese factory. So we evolve them, we share our corporate culture with them. But
you mentioned earlier that you hired one of my connationals to join your company.
Yeah.
What does he offer that a Chinese person doesn't?
Okay, well, if you look at our products on the table, a lot of the people who are working with us will not have grown up with these products. They're not part of their lives. They're not part of their youth. Whereby living in the West, or especially in Latin America, where gumballs are a given part of your heritage. So from that point of view, to answer your question, he's grown up with the product. He's from a marketing background. He's from a product development background. So from that way, I bring him in to kind of professionalize and to standardize our communication and our steps of developing products.
I see.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
The experience of growing up. If you're doing marketing,
Yeah.
sure, you need to understand the product,
Yeah.
understand the emotional connection to
Exactly,
it
yeah.
and everything. Yes, yeah.
What is the next wave in terms of technology? I mean, because you guys probably invest a lot of money in equipment and machinery.
Yep.
Is there anything coming in the future that is going to change the industry, or it's something that's been working the same for centuries?
It's about consumption trends, I think, because gumball and the gum industry is really, it's kind of peaked, and the year-on-year growths are getting smaller and smaller. So now we're looking at using our technology to produce different items. So we're looking at the chew industry. So I was in Cologne in January this year, and we had a lot of meetings with our customers at a ISM. It's an annual food fair that takes place for the last 50 years. And I noticed the trends from our conversations were chewier, fruitier, and juicier. So this is what we're looking at, using our technology to apply to the chew industry. So,
what kind of product that I know? What you mean, like?
If you look up, we have outside on the table. I can show you using using our technology. It would not be a gumball.
Right.
It would be, we wouldn't be using
candy
gum
like
scented.
jelly beans and okay, all right.
Yeah, so a chew.
Okay.
So you can finish it like in the markets you see.
So you're looking to make more of
we
that?
have. We've introduced this year already.
Okay.
So yeah, and obviously the technology that we're looking for is something to produce higher quality, bigger amounts, and faster.
I see. Why don't we take a short break, right? And we come back to talk more about candy in China. All right, and we're back with Karl talking about candy. Karl, I wanted to ask you about the process of making candy. I mean, what are the different steps from the raw material to, well, the final product?
Yeah, well, looking at gum, we break it down really into 4 processes. So the sugar arrives and we mix it in with the gum base, and so that we call it the mixing stage, and then we form the gum ball. So that's when we make the nice round shapes. And then the most exciting one is the panning or the coating, where we make the different colors, the different flavors, and the finish. So give it the nice shiny finish. Also, you can see we do some speckling on the balls. So this is really, it's an art. So the first 2 are more standardized production, whereby it's really automated. But then
I saw the one with the faces, the smiley faces. That's a challenge. Yeah.
These are obviously, this is one of the rooms that we like to keep private, and we don't show guests. Is our printing technology.
There's no 100 people.
No, but it's standard. It's obvious that we do it, right? But how we do it is
a secret.
But we really work hard on our putting the more colors, the more shapes.
Detail.
Yeah, it's an art really. So the first 2 are very automated, standardized, and then the panning is the exciting one. That's when
it's more complicated.
That's when you think Willy Wonka. That's when it happens. And then the 4th is obviously packing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's nice. We can have a walk through the factory. And
all the designs of the packings, they're done abroad.
Yeah, we're trying to introduce the simpler, the back of the pack really is done here, where it's the artwork.
Work with some companies here.
Well, we have our own design team.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, the front we have a designer we've worked for many years.
Okay. How many foreigners work here?
In China?
Yeah.
At the moment, well, as of last week, just me. But then the guy he started on August the 1st is helping us. He's a marketing coordinator from Colombia.
Do you communicate with your staff in Chinese? Or?
Yeah. Mostly, yeah. We have some. That's one thing I've noticed about Dongguan and Guangdong. The level of English of people here from the Chinese people is a lot higher than cities I've lived in before, which is great. But yeah, generally Chinese in production.
So let's talk a little bit about those cities that you've lived in before.
How you came to China? I mean, 18 years ago.
Why China? That's the question I always ask people.
How did you end up here?
Warrant.
Yes.
No.
Some people.
This is not going on. No, yeah. I graduated from university. I studied marketing management in Dublin, and I graduated in 2002. I watched the World Cup on TV in Ireland in 2002. It was in Italy. I was in Japan and Korea, and as soon as that finished, I left, and that was 18 years ago on the 21st of August. So I was looking at things to do in Ireland, and I applied for a job in a radio station in Ghana because I wanted to leave Ireland. Ireland's very small.
You wanted to go out to the world.
To the world, and then through a connection from my university, I found they had a partnership with a university in Harbin in the north of China, and they wanted to promote their university in Dublin to China. So I went over for a year, and I went over in August to Harbin. I arrived. Yeah, nice weather. My first experience was have some water. I said, great. It was 30 degrees. I took some water. The water was about 60 degrees. I spat it out. because you don't know.
It's interesting
somebody gives
because
you a cup of water. Thanks.
You were in Harbin.
One of my
in the
first
beginning,
places at work was also Harbin.
Yeah,
Right.
But I'm coming from Colombia, so I'm wearing everything I own.
Yeah, true. And if you bring a scissors, so when it gets warmer, you just cut a layer. Yeah, but I didn't do my research because I didn't care where I was going. I was young, I was 21, and let's go. And then it was like October, a little bit chilly. November, what's going on?
Right.
You know, your moisture in your nose, your eyes it's minus 35.
So you worked in the university?
Yeah, I was traveling around the north of China promoting my university to other universities.
To what? For them to connect?
Once they graduate, or they could go to a year there, or high schools, once you graduate, you can go to Ireland to study.
How expensive is it for because Harbin, I mean, I don't know how developed or how wealthy the people in Harbin are.
But you're not talking the mass, you're talking a few people. If you can get 10 people or something, then...
That's a success.
Yeah, but like at that time, there was... Harbin and north of China, there's a lot of oil as well. So places like Changchun, Daqing, there's a lot of oil there. So you have people who are
wealthy
from very
enough
wealthy
to
families. Yeah.
So you came from Ireland to Harbin, and that was the beginning of your life outside of Ireland, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Did you have to start changing your accent? You're very clear, right? For
clear,
an
yeah.
Irish
It's kind of neutral. My accent's been neutralized, and I've perfected
in
pigeon,
the last 18
pigeon
years?
English. Yes, in the last 18 years. But if I go home, it speeds up, and it speeds. Yeah, like if
it came out nice.
Speeds up. If you say the word bus, how do you say it?
Bus.
Yeah, I say bus.
Bus.
Yeah, so it's just different things like that.
I had some experiences with Irish people in India, and
obviously Irish people in India.
Yeah, it's very very difficult. Yeah, but so you came to Harbin, and you were there for a year or?
About a year, and then I wanted to get back into some more corporate working environment, so I moved to Beijing. And I worked in freight forwarding for a year with a Taiwanese company, and then I got into back into an Irish company. So it was a semi-state government company, the Irish Dairy Board. So my job was Asian Business Development Manager for the Irish Dairy Board for 5 years. So I worked with the brand Kerrygold that we got registered and listed all over China and Singapore and Hong Kong.
So you traveled all over China at the time?
And Asia as well?
Singapore and Hong Kong.
So you're promoting the brand in China, creating more opportunities.
Yeah, so it was a food product similar to what we're doing now in different markets around the world. So from then I was importing, and so I was having talks with the buyers in Carrefour, Metro. Also, we looked at the food service industry, so bakery chefs, hotel chefs, something where we want to use our bulk items for butter and cheese. So and it was really an exciting job for a long time.
Did you? How was your localization? Like, was it quick for you? You were in Harbin for a year, then Beijing, and how was your localization, language, and basically
culture?
Culture. When you arrive in Harbin by myself, you really get immersed in the culture, because if you're a Westerner in Harbin, they presume you're Russian. So people are saying like "how to show," which means good, but they think it means hello.
Not me though.
Yeah. Well, maybe not.
It could be.
And they call you La Malza or Dabidza, and you're like, and you think that means, you go home, you think, I think Dabidza means hello, because everybody says it. Right? So you're like, maybe. And but yeah, you
pick it up quickly.
You made a lot of Chinese friends who don't speak English, and I think that's the best way, just to submerge in the culture, and just you take a piece of pen and a piece of paper and a pen, and what did you say? And then you don't learn the tones or the characters. You just learn how to say it, right?
Right.
You copy them.
Yeah.
And then you use sentences, and then obviously everyone uses the best teachers in the world, who are taxi drivers, and the cost of a 4 kilometer taxi journey is 7 kwai, and you go, where do you want to go? I just want to go 4 kilometers anywhere, and no, let's practice.
But then you go to Beijing, and it's a bigger city, right? So
Beijing,
there's a bit more English.
You kind of stepped into, like, you become internationalized. You go to Beijing and you see, like, is that a Greek restaurant?
Right.
Is that a foreigner driving a car? You're like, wow, what is this China?
That's why I started a DD business. Sorry, it's just sticking my mind. I want people to practice their English with me.
Yeah. I just found out about this service because I drive from Dongguan to Changping every day, an hour. And there's this service, what is it called? Dadi?
Yeah.
Dida.
People can get in your car
Yes.
So I'm thinking of doing that.
Yeah, I think you probably can't, but yeah, because of an ID or something. But yeah, I just did it. It's a good
Hey,
service.
you were talking about dairy, and I don't know if it's a stereotype or if you had to deal with that when you started working in with dairy, but a lot of people say that Chinese are lactose intolerant.
Lactose intolerant, yeah. I think it's, this is obviously an issue or a myth that I had to deal with. But again, it's just because it's not in their, it wasn't in their normal diet. But now if you see, like, one of the most popular restaurants for young people in China is Pizza Hut, whereas cheese is the main component of the diet. So I think it's something that's maybe in the past caused reactions in the stomachs whereby they're not used to lactose or dairy products, but now it's kind of ironing out. And if you go to any Carrefour, they have a big dairy section, and milk is on the shelves.
But that's still not as.
This guy's
you want
them.
some?
Yeah, go for it.
But still not as much as used for, like, you'd have a 4 cheese pizza. I think for Chinese it might be too much.
Yeah, but again, like, even a 1% growth on years is massive.
Oh yeah, it's a massive market, right?
And
So
also they had some scares in anything. They had some domestic scares with melatonin in the milk powder. So domestically, so Sanlu and
Right.
San Yuan.
And they don't actually. I don't know if it started back then when he did the dairy board, the Irish one, but. All of these scares, they made them really, they don't trust their own brands.
Yeah, sure. So
the Chinese ones.
this, like, Ireland is one of our biggest exports is our agriculture. We export 80% of what we make because the country is so small.
Right.
So if you look at countries in Europe, Holland, Ireland will be famous for the dairy, and then obviously New Zealand and Australia. So I'd say any you have kids here, so if you weren't using milk powder, I guess you're not using domestically produced milk powder. It's coming from these countries.
Can I actually buy Irish milk now here in Dongguan?
Milk powder. Yeah, well, you can
Butter.
buy milk.
Powder.
Milk powder. Yeah, it's
I use Irish butter.
yeah, Kerrygold. That's the butter that I was talking about. That I registered this, and I spent 5 years getting it distributed.
So you had a big growth during those 5 years when
massive.
the
It's
company.
great.
Yeah. Okay.
It was one of the biggest growth markets for during my time there.
And you were in Beijing for 5 years.
I was in Beijing for nearly 10 years.
10 years.
So what came after?
After I
I'm curious. You were in Beijing during the Olympics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How was that?
Today is actually the 8th of August.
8/8.
Yeah. And
Which was the ceremony.
12 years
8/8.
ago. 12 years ago, I was sitting on the roof of my apartment building, which was about 5 kilometers from the bird's nest, and I could watch all the fireworks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you watch any games?
I was at the boxing. Because that's one of the only events that Irish people can compete in, and horse racing. So actually, I went to the boxing event, and I went to the final, Argentina versus Nigeria for the soccer.
How was the time during? Because there was a lot of, I mean, if I remember correctly, like they were cleaning the city before, and
the smog and
you know,
everything.
how was the time? It was a special time in Beijing. I guess.
Before the cleanup, it was great. Beijing was great. It was like the Wild West. People were driving motorbikes with side carts. You were driving anything you wanted. No licenses, and bars were everywhere.
I went to the Paralympics, which is just right after that.
Right.
I remember they brought that's when they started bringing all those English-looking taxis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's when they brought on the black ones that actually open like
Right,
Rolls
right.
Royces and whatnot.
Right.
Before that, we used to have the Chalet car, which was EQIR, 1.2 RMB kilometer. It was
Get up.
great. And you could, if you gave the driver 10 RMB, you could drive it.
So that changed a lot. That changed the city a lot.
Yeah, it cleaned it up. Wow, it was terrible.
But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to clean the air.
They did the air. They launched the rockets into
Right.
the
So
air.
that was very temporary.
Yeah, it was temporary because then obviously things came back. But they stopped industry production. Even now, you can notice the Dongguan air is a lot cleaner because export business is dying, so factories are closing.
Dongguan air is so much better. I mean, it's amazing now.
Yeah, but that's industrial related.
Yeah, but also rules, not just closing factories, but some factory closing because of rules, because they can be up to the standards.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the last few years, not just now, not the situation
But it's
now.
also part of the vision. I mean, they're trying to go from labor intensive into more
Low-tech,
knowledge
high-tech.
intensive. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
from
So
low-tech.
those are far
Yeah,
less
for
polluting.
sure.
Yeah.
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 But then, okay, so you were in Beijing for 10 years.
Yeah, after I while I was working with the dairy industry, the dairy board, a few guys, Irish guys, realized that the Olympics was coming up, and they started an Irish bar, Paddy O'Shea's, and I watched it grow, and they got it open for a few months, and then I said, okay, I want in, because one of the shareholders was leaving to Thailand, and I said, okay, I'll take your share.
In Beijing?
In Beijing, I'll take your share.
There must be a lot. How many Irish bars are in Beijing?
They open and they close.
Right.
So he left, and I took over. I took his share on one condition, that I could be the managing partner. So I took over the management of the business for Paddy O'Shea's Irish Bar in 2007, the end of 2007, or no, in 2008, and then I did that for about 4 years. So we set up a company, a Hong Kong company called Irish Business Entertainment Asia, and the idea was to open more and more franchises of Paddy O'Shea's around northern China. So we opened 3 more in Beijing, and we looked at spots in Tianjin and also in Chengdu.
Oh wow! It still exists?
It still exists. I sold it in 2013 to a French guy actually, and it's still opening. It was hit hard by COVID. Obviously, yeah. Everything in Beijing did. But yeah, Paddy O'Shea's, it's in Dongguan if you're ever in...
so just Beijing and Tianjin, that's it?
We never opened in Tianjin in the end.
Just Beijing?
Beijing, at one stage we had 4 bars.
Right.
So,
usually
did you brew your own, or
no? It's an Irish bar.
I think Irish pubs don't. Really,
our focus was on sports, so it was really
and just beer on tap.
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day,
huge, right?
And live music. So this is the dream of every person in
Ireland.
Exactly.
Every Irish boy.
You have an Irish bar and as an expat in the embassy district. So it was a good few years, but in the end, I didn't own the bar. The bar owned me.
Right.
It's not a life
it's
that
very consuming.
Like you see guys who do it here, and they go, "Oh well, you did it before. Do you want to do it again?" No. I'm much happy on this side of the bar now.
Yes,
it's something I've done. I don't regret it, but I'm not interested to do it again.
Yeah. So you did that in Beijing. So you actually stopped your day job.
The corporate lifestyle to get into it, and then I got from there. I got really focused into hospitality management, people management, team management, and then my next trip was I got linked to in Beijing. There's a place called the Capital Club, which is a membership club, which is a part of a network owned by Club Corp, which is a Texas company that own and manage clubs and golf clubs all around the world. So they have, I think, about 200 golf clubs and about 200 extra business clubs. So I got connected with them, and they sent me to Hefei in Anhui province. How do
you find? I find it's the opportunities, right, in China.
Yeah.
It's not like you're looking for a job now. Usually, it's not like that, right?
It finds you, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Beijing, if you're in an industry, it's back in those days, like print media was. This was kind of before WeChat and before, so it was websites and forums and magazines.
Yeah,
and this was.
That's Beijing.
And then the bar, Paddy O'Shea's itself, is like, it's like a hub for expats to come together. So I'd know people in all sorts of industries doing, over here the guys in oil, over here the embassy guys, over here the guys in journalists, and I'd know everybody.
In Beijing there are those guys, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So you get opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. People come and you talk, and they understand that what you're doing now is something that you do for short term, and if you have other ideas, you talk, right, and you get connected. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Which is
so you got an offer somewhere. You saw some good opportunity.
And then they sent me to Dallas in Texas for training for a few weeks, and then I came back with the corporate culture and installed them.
So this is a luxurious clientele kind of.
Yeah. So in Hefei, the project was in a Crowne Plaza. So it was at the top 7 floors of a Crowne Plaza, and I was appointed as GM there. I did 1 year of pre-opening, so hiring and setting up the standards and SOPs, introducing them, and then a year of operations.
This is a Chinese clientele, totally.
Yeah, totally.
No foreigners.
Hefei is, you'd be lucky to see some foreigners. But
Hefei is in Anhui, you said?
Anhui province. But now Hefei, this was in 2013. So the Hefei today, 2020, and 7 years ago was completely different. Now it's moved a lot quicker.
What's the industry there?
They do a lot of automotive, so car industries, and also their university is quite famous for science and tech. So you have a lot of international students studying there.
Okay, and you were there for you did this for 2 years.
2 years, 2 years. I got in from management I got into factory management. So to apply my management skill set into a factory. So this was a Dutch company who I again met in a small community in.
So
in
again,
Hefei.
an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm looking for a job, you know.
Yeah, I actually moved to Shenzhen for a month in 2015, and then I went back after I got the offer with the Dutch company.
Okay.
So I went back and did 2.5 years operations management for a Chinese factory producing textiles, and it was really similar to what I'm doing here, but different product and different processes.
Well, you've talked about a lot of changes and everything, and you don't need to go into it if you don't want to. But family-wise, when did you marry?
Yeah, I met.
How do you guys move around?
Yeah, we move around. Yes, that's if you look at my CV, it's quite diverse, and it's like a what's going on?
Who's this guy?
What's this guy about? Actually,
who's he hiding from? But no, I met Nastia in nearly in the first 6 months of arriving in China in Harbin. Mm-hmm. She's one of the Lamods, and she's Russian, and she was working in a restaurant there, and we met. And obviously, the start of the relationship, her English wasn't great, my Russian was non-existent, and then it grows, and as both young people, and then.
But she spoke Chinese, or
no? We started.
You figured it out.
Yeah,
right?
we figured it out, you know, and once you're like an expat in China. Unless you're speaking Chinese, English is the go-to language. Luckily for me.
Usually, the foreign come to China, meet a girl that becomes his wife. Usually, it's a Chinese girl.
Yeah, I know. That was strange. It wasn't me. It wasn't for me. I think we met and
I break the average.
Yeah, you break. Well, we are different. I think. I met my wife also in China, which she's American.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So we moved around. During the early days, she was doing modeling, so she was doing a lot of traveling, and now then in Beijing, she was working with the Beijing Family United Hospital. So she got a job in admin there, working in the Russian department. So kind of doing translating.
She likes the life you have in China.
Yeah, well, also? Obviously we have a house in Thailand, which she really likes. But obviously this year she can't go there. No, but we can't go there.
Whereabouts?
In Rayong.
Okay.
Rayong, so it's about a 2-hour south drive from Bangkok. We like to spend some time there, and but I think initially you would like to live, if you spend so long in one place, you want to move. The grass is always greener. But we've spent in the last few years some time traveling in Europe, and I think Europe is really small when you look at it, and the opportunities are quite limited, and your life becomes very, very standardized very quick.
But so, like as
monotonous.
As a foreign wife, I mean, you have a career. You know, I don't know if she has a career.
She had a career in Beijing. So when I moved out of Beijing, it was kind of hard for her to accept it because she had a great job in the international hospital. Okay. And that was kind of a move that, but again, after 10 years in Beijing, we were ready for a move. Beijing is a great city, but the changes and the pollution made it kind of hard to live and easier to leave. So a new adventure, and then the idea was we'd do a few years there, and then we'd look at moving back to Europe. But then opportunities kept knocking, and we kept opening the door and taking the opportunity, so we stayed.
Right.
And
so then in Hefei, right?
Yep.
You were in Hefei. You went back to that job in manufacturing, right?
Yep.
And you told me before something about football.
Football, during the
that sounded interesting.
Football.
Because in Beijing we had the Beijing Celtics, which was a great social club, and we played twice a week, and 11-a-sides and 7-a-sides, 5-a-sides. And when I got to Hefei, there was nothing. So it was nothing. And I don't know, if you go and play football with the local people, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Tackling is not allowed. They play 25 people against 25 on an 11-a-side pitch, and people are wearing different colored jerseys, and
it's kind of weird,
50% of people have glasses on, and people are breaking their glasses, dropping their glasses, and it's not so organized. So for me, I saw this as a grassroots opportunity, and in my compound there was a 5-a-side pitch which was always unused, and it was a nice pitch. So I decided to rent it for a year. The guy goes, "You want to rent it for an hour?" I said, "No, I want to rent it for a year."
What?
Yeah. So basically, I said, "Let me take over the rent plus a percentage, so he doesn't have to worry about it for a year," because it was always empty. He was losing money. So I said, "I'll take over the rent," and then I started finding the African students who were studying in the universities and
to teach.
Yeah, no, to play with.
To play first.
And to create a bit of an atmosphere, because you find in these third-tier cities in China. You can find African students or students from different countries in the world who've been there for 15 years with no visas.
And, it happens, yeah. Maybe less now, I don't know.
But I guess, and these guys were coming out of the woodwork, and we had an atmosphere of a foreign pitch where people would come and we'd play against Chinese teams. And then from there on, I started, I put an advertisement out, okay, let's do some coaching. And on the first day, I remember it was April, getting into the rainy season, and we had about 4 kids come. And I started an academy called Hefei Kickers. And before I left, I think in 2017, I had about close to 100 kids coming every week. And we had our own team developed. We had our academy, our training.
What year was that?
That was would have been in 2015 or 2014. I think I started up until 2017.
Because China is promoting more.
This was in Xi Jinping came out and said football needs to be part of the curriculum in each school, and I think this was perfect timing. So when they said it was fun. It was something I really enjoyed because I worked 6 days in the factory. And then
you did that on
a Sunday,
Interesting that you mentioned Xi Jinping, because when we did gym with the baseball, he said that Xi Jinping also wanted baseball to be at the forefront of Chinese sports and schools and whatnot.
I think football and basketball is 2 sports that are already exist and Chinese people like, but I think they just Xi Jinping wanted it to be better, right? We have so many people, and I think it's more promoted.
How do you? We also talked to Andy, right, about his football school. How do you market a football school? I mean, how do you sell it? How do you price it? What do you offer in
you
exchange?
as teaching English, you price English classes, right?
I know how to sell English courses, right? But how would I go about selling a?
Well, what I did there was English football through English. So again, it was
I should do something like that.
But again, it depends on the city, because when I come here to Dongguan, I see things are done already, and like I mentioned to Siva earlier on, the further inland, the third-tier cities, there's some cities are 10 years behind where we are now, 15 years. So in Hefei at the time, there wasn't anybody doing it. So I could just say, okay, football lessons through English. So kids would come and they'd be wearing jeans and they'd never have played football before, and the reason they were there wasn't to play football, was to speak English and have a little bit of exercise. So it's a different business model that I think if you wanted to really become a professional footballer, you wouldn't be at my academy. You'd be in an academy which had different stages of training. So mine were 1 hour classes. You're never going to become the next Maradona from 1 hour at Hefei Kickers.
So you're saying the more you go into those areas, inland places that less traveled or less, the more opportunity you will have.
Yeah, because if you see new people arriving in China to teach English or to experience China, and they arrive in Shenzhen or Dongguan or Beijing or Shanghai,
it's not like China.
Yeah, so you may as well be in. You're gonna go home after a year and go, it was okay. Did you learn any Chinese? Xixie. You're gonna go down to your local Chinese takeaway and go, Gongbao Ji Ding. And
that's interesting. Right? That's one of the reasons why I chose Dongguan 20 years ago. I've been here for 20 years.
Wow,
it's like,
it was like that.
I don't want to be in Guangzhou. I don't want to be in Shanghai. I want to be in a place where I could actually, there's nothing where I could actually set a mark and
I think it would have been harder to start our businesses
today.
Yes, in this place. Maybe there are still some places, I guess, that are more. Yeah,
if you ever get a train in China, like a fast train, you stop at a place. I've never heard of that.
I'm here.
Let's get out. Let's get out and start teaching
English. Let's start something here.
Start an Irish bar.
Open. Patio Shays, Tao Zhou.
Yeah. All right, guys. Why don't we take a very short break and we continue talking to you about your life in China?
Okay.
And we are back with Karl Long. And Karl, we were just talking about Hefei, right? Football and everything. And there's so many things in your time in China, and we didn't even get to the end of it yet.
No.
It's what kind of advice would you give someone coming now and maybe he doesn't see it, but maybe the person will stay here for as long as you or me or Fernando? For success here?
Success. Well, it's hard to make a 5-year plan in China because things change so quick, right? Like I've been leaving every year for the last 16 years, but I never. Like if you talk to me, I'll be gone next year. But like I said earlier, me and you, we'll be sitting here in 20 years going.
No teeth,
Less
no hair on me.
I'll have hair.
In other places.
That's another conversation. But yeah, advice to people: listen. No, coming from Ireland, where every day can be the same. I think in China, no 2 days are the same, right?
Right.
Depending on what kind of environment you work in. I know for the bigger corporate cultures, day-to-day life can be similar, right? You do your job and you finish. But here, like I drive here for 1 hour every day. I can see some crazy stuff on the roads every day.
How do you cope with that? For example, driving. Like, I think being adaptable is a lot to do with succeeding in China, right? And one of it is like things like even driving here. Some people just see this and they can deal with this over time.
Yeah, you just go home and you play GTA.
Just relax, unwind.
Really, it's just a matter of not having. You have to like broaden your horizons and don't have expectations that cannot be fulfilled. But again, it's so many opportunities here.
So you see the good and the bad, and you measure that in a way, right?
I think you need to stay calm as well, because if you don't stay, I see people who come here and they
complain.
They come here and go, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to go into that organization, I'm going to change it. They're going to have the international mindset in a year, and everything's going to be good. The guys are gone in 6 months,
right?
Because they need to understand the culture here, and they need to work with it, and then to explain to people how and why we want to improve things.
Are Irish people in a way similar, like they are adaptable kind of people, or
I don't think I can speak for the whole country, but in general, people there's so many. I think there's something like 90 million passports from the Irish national. 90 million Irish passports around the world, and only 5 million people in the country. So we're traditionally
out there.
The best export from Ireland is its people.
Right.
That could be from a reason whereby you get itchy feet if you stay in Ireland, but I think we like to travel traditionally. The same like Dutch people are traders, you find them everywhere.
Right.
Same like Israelis on tour, they usually...
Yeah, we like I said, we are very adaptable. I think maybe growing up in a reality, and I think for you too, like growing up, I think Americans will be the other side of the spectrum, right? They've been too comfortable. They're not very easy to get used to other things.
I was in Harbin for SARS, and I remember there was like a notification issued by the American embassy for all American citizens to leave if they could, to get out. And like Irish people are like, see ya. 2 RMB a beer, I'm staying.
Are you gonna keep that?
Are you eating that?
How about the Irish community in China? How many are there?
When I lived in Beijing, every year we had an Irish ball, and we sold 700 or 800 tickets, and we would invite somebody they would come from the ministry in Ireland, from the government. They would come, send a minister over, and the ambassador would be there. I did the MC a couple of times.
Sponsored by Guinness?
Sponsored by everyone. Sponsored by Guinness, sponsored by Kerrygold, sponsored by the Irish Network China, and then you get like a big Irish...
You guys have a consulate in South China too?
In Shanghai.
Just Shanghai?
Shanghai. We have the embassy in Beijing.
And Shanghai, no Guangzhou? Nothing.
Guangzhou, I'm not sure. No, I think they process visas there now, but only in
Hong
Shanghai.
Kong, I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
Right.
And but in Dongguan now we have a huge community of 4 people.
4 people.
Yeah.
4 people that you know of.
Yeah, and we don't like each other. No, we do. We do. Yeah.
I'd
like to be the Colombian that you hired, because we're 45.
Yeah.
Not the what did you say before? Not the patty plastics or
the plastic patties. No.
Plastic patties.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Irish. You can go to the Murray's Irish Bar on the 17th, and you see everybody kiss me, I'm Irish. Where are you from?
Right.
Germany.
But that's another thing. I think that's the most famous Irish thing in the world is St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. I think everything popular or famous about Ireland is related to alcohol. So it all amasses on one day. And but I think Irish abroad generally, we get close together, and again, once you come to China or go anywhere first, if you're an Irish person, the last place you want to go is an Irish bar. But after a few months, They
You
all
end up
come
back,
back.
yeah.
You all come
But like
back.
we always like to ask our guests
Yeah.
different nationalities. So you're Irish, and like when someone asks you where you're from, Chinese person, what's the stereotype? What do they know about Ireland?
They go, oh, Ireland, you wear skirts. And I go, no, it's Scotland.
So actually,
Oh,
they
Ireland,
confuse-
I love the movie Braveheart. Yeah, Scotland.
Yeah.
And then somebody will say maybe
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor now,
Right.
or Robbie Keane or Roy Keane, it's football,
Right.
or music. Depends how culturally aware they
Right,
are.
right.
The harp,
There is no one thing. It's not very simple for Chinese.
milk
people.
powder.
Yeah.
Milk
So you did a
powder.
good job with
Thanks to you, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's they'll
Wow,
ask you to bring
interesting.
back some milk powder, do some dago.
So then we were talking about Hefei and the football, and then you went. I think you told us you went through Hangzhou just for a few months, which is a
Hangzhou.
beautiful city. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
great city.
Hangzhou, I think, was one of them. If you have a lot of money and you want the good life, Hangzhou is really nice. Really relaxed. The people are calm.
Right.
The surroundings are
And then the
beautiful.
West Lake.
But
is
it's
beautiful.
expensive, or
Yeah, it is expensive. It's the home of Jack Ma and Alibaba.
Okay.
So they
Right.
don't use WeChat there. They use Driftleball.
Very,
Alipay.
very old city. Very.
Yeah, but it's so
Very nice.
so fast.
Yes.
It's so
Have
ahead
you,
of
haven't
people.
you been?
I've been to Harbin.
Yeah, it's really nice.
To Hangzhou.
No,
we
I
went-
mean Hangzhou.
Oh, sorry, Hangzhou. Yeah, I went to
Yeah,
Hangzhou with the
Hangzhou,
government
yeah.
During the whole live because the event was in Hangzhou,
Ah, okay.
2006.
Yeah, it's very technologically advanced.
Right,
It's,
right. And then you came down to the south.
The mighty
to here.
Dongguan. Yes, I arrived and I stayed. My first week was staying in Chongqing in the Huihua Hotel. Woof.
That was after Chongqing was not the
Yeah.
same Chongqing.
Yeah,
So
we
you
came.
already heard about.
We came a few years too late.
Yes, after that. And then you're here for 2 years now.
The people who are watching this don't know what you're talking about. We
Right.
are laughing here.
Well, the Dongguan.
You're laughing. You were here. You
if you
tell-
search,
You tell
if
us.
if you search for Dongguan, right, on Google, you may find some results related to the
nightlife.
the adult industry, the sex
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
But in 2014, there was on Valentine's Day, actually, the
crackdown.
bus,
The
the
crackdown,
crackdown
yeah.
day, and Chongqing was known for that, having the train coming from Hong Kong directly.
Yeah.
So
It was a
you
stop.
know,
The party train.
yeah, kind of things were conveniently located there, I
Yeah.
would say,
Yeah.
but it's changed. Yeah.
Yeah, like if you go, the hotel I stayed in, if you look at the elevator, the list of floors, like third floor is nightclub, party floor. You go there now and it's just empty.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. No more
No, I'm only
KTVs
messing.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like kind of a ghost town. They're building it up. But yeah, I stayed there for a week. And then I had one of the Irish mafia who I know in Dongchen. He told me to come down and have a look at Dongchen. So
okay.
I was considering living in Shenzhen and commuting or Dongchen.
Right.
And then
You chose
Dongchen won.
Dongchen.
Yeah, because
Prices.
prices and just the convenience after living in places the mixture of Beijing, which has everything
Right.
but it's quite a big city,
Right.
Hefei, which really for expats didn't have anything. So when you found a mix of those two things, so the mix of expat and Chinese all in one, you didn't have to get taxi. I've been in Dongchen for 2 years. I think I've got 2 taxis.
How far is it from here, from the factory to Shenzhen?
Shenzhen also about an hour. You
So
can-
it's the same.
it's a little
You
bit
could have chose
a bit more
chosen
traffic going to Shenzhen.
So a bit more traffic, right?
Yeah.
And so you drive every day in the morning, 1 hour, and going back home another hour.
Right.
But still worth it living in a place where you have everything you want.
Yeah. Sometimes I tell my wife it takes 2 hours and I go to Liberty for an hour.
Yeah, I get that, right? Yeah, and what about the future? So you've been here for 18 years. I
Yep.
know you said already every year you're going to leave.
Yeah.
But in reality, what
In
do you
reality,
really
I've
think?
signed a 5-year contract here.
Ah, okay.
And in
So you
reality,
still have 3 more at least.
yeah, well, 2020 kind of put a dent in the works, right, with the COVID.
Yes.
So it's kind of a year off in the contract, I guess. But the idea is to build up the company, expand operations, get more growth in markets, build up our global sales, and get to a stage where the company becomes very attractive. So
Is China market one of those things
exactly,
that are very
China's
important?
China's key. I think once we get our brand on the shelves in China, then we hope to get incremental growth that we can build on.
Are you already planning like Chinese packaging and
Sure,
stuff like
yeah.
that?
I was had a meeting in the last few weeks with our designers and regulation teams on what needs to be done on our packaging, nutritional agreements, what can and cannot be done, and looking at Tmall as a starter, looking at the wholesale channels, retail channels, hypermarket versus supermarket. So
Are you selling online like a lot around the world? Because
No.
I mean, even this year is more than usual.
yeah,
but
some of our distribution partners, generally we work with one distribution
You do
partner per
B2B?
country. Yeah, mostly it's B2B, and
B2B,
then
right.
and let them handle the B2C.
Right, right. Interesting.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, look, we want to thank you very much for all
Yes.
the
Yep.
candy offers and for the time you've offered us.
Yeah,
No
jelly
problem,
beans are
a
really
pleasure.
good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I can
Gourmet
tell.
jelly
Yeah,
beans.
yeah, yeah.
They're gone, man.
yeah. That's Zib's fourth packet.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, cool. So, well, again, thank you very much for your time. Thank you
No
very much
problem.
for
Karl.
sharing all
Thank
your
you.
Pleasure.
story. And, well, guys, that's
Thank
it
you.
for today. You know how to do. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you like the content of our channel, then consider subscribing to it. And if you do that, make sure to hit the bell button to be notified whenever there's a new video out. And don't forget to follow us on the social media
Yep.
that you see here at the bottom. And, well, until we'll see you again, thank you, Karl.
Thank
and
you.
this was, of course,
China.
bye.